Are we live? Beautiful. Awesome. Hello, everyone. I'm Sudha Jamthe, and this is WeeklyWed at Business School of AI and my beautiful student community from around the globe. I'm very excited to be here today. I've been here after a while because I was traveling, and this WeeklyWed is hosted by Yash, and last week it was by Ananya Sen. And today I'm going to kick off our event because I'm very passionate about this topic. And the speaker is one of our regulars from WeeklyWed. So after that, I'm going to pass it on to Debika, who's going to host and field your questions. And for those of you who are new here, Business School of AI is my student community. We cover the latest innovations in AI, and we look at everything with a very multifaceted lens. So today we are going to be looking at robots, and the topic of today is ethical robots. And you must be hearing about robotic arms and policing robots and all the bad things that robots can do. And we have our own Suresh Lokiah here, who is going to talk to us about how to use robots ethically for elder care. And he's published a paper on that. And so this session today is going to be a readout of that paper. And when we say published paper, we are talking about research published in a peer-reviewed journal. So Suresh will be sharing where this is published and all the good details. And for those of you who are new, we are streaming this live onto YouTube, and we will be recording this and then sharing this on our newsletter and other channels. And so you can follow Business School of AI on LinkedIn, and then you'll get all the good stuff and the follow-ups. And for those of you who are here on LinkedIn, on Zoom, if you don't want to be in the recording, then don't come on camera. If you ask questions, you can chat. Otherwise, you'll get recorded. But just by being here, you're giving us permission to be part of the recording. Okay. That's it, I think, in terms of logistics. And Ranin reminds me that there is an Agent AI course, Agent AI Foundation course that I'm going to be teaching. This is my last live session I'm going to do for the year. And we've changed it to a 4-hour Saturday session. So on November 16th in the morning here, Pacific time, from 9 o'clock to 1 o'clock, is the Agent AI session that I'm going to be teaching. And then follow up to that, we have Dia Win from Amazon doing a session for an hour. We have 3 other mentoring sessions to teach you different no-code AI tools or coding-based tools, whatever you choose, so that you can build out the learning from Agent AI into a real capstone project. So think of this as like 4 hours live and maybe another 5 to 6 hours over the next week into Thanksgiving, into Christmas, that you can work on to build out a real project applying Agent AI. So I want to actually put it out there because I am very particular that I like to interact with my students. That's the joy of why I do my teaching. So if you are serious about engaging and learning, you're welcome. And I'm going to limit it to 20 students. And just because I'm asking you here, you don't need to sign up. You can still come and engage and learn with us at WeeklyWed because we don't charge for a WeeklyWed. Okay. And somebody was asking, where is the course link? So I'm going to find that and put it on chat here. And in a little bit later, I'm going to share that screen with you so that we can get on with our conversation. Okay. Debika, if you don't mind, you can find the course landing page so that people know where to sign up if they're interested. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put it on later for everyone.
Yeah. And we should show it on screen and show the URL because somebody was asking me the link. And if you're on WeeklyWed, you will be getting emails, and you must have gotten emails because Ranin has a special offer for WeeklyWed students and past students if you want to bring another students. And so the easiest thing is, if you don't know what the link is, you can just reply back to the WeeklyWed email and you'll get the responses, the links and the deals and all that stuff. Okay. That is it for logistics, I think. So rest of the year, we have our WeeklyWed actually scheduled. And so we will be sharing that in the upcoming newsletter. But we are going to pivot to focus a lot more on innovation with AI but with an ethical lens. So if you have topics that you want to see, reply back to the WeeklyWed email and talk to us. And I also have a call for people who are here at WeeklyWed or are coming back and watching this in the recording, that the way we do WeeklyWed is we do a lot of research on the latest topics and then, shortlist speakers. We don't want people who are just self-promoting. I personally want people who are, really respectful of my students who are all, working in industry and are early adopters and innovators. And so I like people who have a great attitude, that they feel very blessed to come and have a conversation, because I feel that every time I come and talk to you guys. And so I have a call out now for anybody who wants to work with me to research AI ethics topics out there and help me find speakers. And you'll work closely with me one-on-one, and we'll come up with a calendar and come up with speakers and stuff for early next year. We're all set with speakers and topics for this year. So what you will be working with me would be for speakers starting from January. So you can find me on LinkedIn at Business School of AI, or you can reply back to the WeeklyWed email you get. Okay. So with that, I am going to get us to our amazing speaker, Suresh Lokiah. And Suresh has been passionate about this topic. And in fact, Suresh spends time every Sunday visiting an elder care facility to meet with a set of dementia patients and talk to them, spend time with them. And Sam, who is joining us here, who's also a co-author of the same paper with Suresh. I met Sam also playing violin for the elders out there. So this is very personal to me, because I've seen the passion behind this particular use case. Because when we talk in tech about use case and applications, it seems very nerdy, but this is very real. So I'm going to pass it on to Debika, who is going to introduce Suresh and bring Sam on stage, and then I'm going to listen in and ask all my questions. Let me pass it on to you, Debika. Debika, can you come on camera?
Can everyone see me?
Yes. Wait.
Hello, everyone.
Okay, so I'm just going to go off. I'm going to remove a pin. So I go off air, and then we can bring Suresh. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we bring Sam. Or when Suresh introduces, we bring Sam. What do you want to do?
I would say let's introduce Suresh, and then Suresh can bring someone.
Okay, I'm going to mute and listen, and thank you guys.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, welcome. So we have Suresh Lokiah here, who is going to present his paper to us called Ethically Integrating Robots into Elder Care. And it is published in the World Academy of Science, Engineering, Technology, International Journal of Mechanical and Mechatronics Engineering. Suresh, welcome. Please feel free to introduce our other guest here today.
Thank you, Debika. You can hear me clearly, I suppose, yeah?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, so this paper is co-authored. We have a co-authors, Sam with me here, as well as Yashashwini and Sudha. So we have co-authored this paper, and it's a great opportunity to author the paper and present what we have been passionate about, what we are passionate about. Like Sudha had given us a brief introduction that yeah, each week we go and volunteer old age facility, and the paper that we are presenting is the learnings that we have picked up, and how we could possibly implement robots in a big way in the elder community. So with that, I just want to give the opportunity to Sam to say hi here, and then.
Hi everyone, my name is Sam, or Samarth. I'm currently a high school student, and I co-authored this paper with Suresh and Sudha and Yash. And we're just here to speak about our experiences that we had over the course of these past couple months being in the elderly space, and the ethical considerations when we choose to implement AI into this space. Thank you.
Perfect. So,
Suresh, can you also give us a general introduction to yourself? I know this is not about your company, it's personal. That's the disclaimer, right?
yes,
But
yes,
I want the audience to know where you're coming from, because you have been in the space of cameras and IoT forever, even before you took my class a couple years back. And you're
that's
so
right.
passionate about robotics in so many different ways, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Thanks, Sudha. So, I have been in the IoT industry forever, and I've been passionate about all the technologies that make things smarter. And robotics is just a natural progression. But with all of that, it is only useful if it can better serve the community. Like for instance, security cameras serve and securing your properties. The next major transition that's coming is the introduction of robots. Robots are anything that is autonomous, and but it has to serve the community. So in this particular paper, as I walk through this paper, we are taking a population that is underserved, but it has a great potential for integrating the automation into this space. And the real fact is we all age, and it is just that not many people have been uh, actively thinking about what could serve when you are getting to the age where you need more help, more support in just not ways of socially, automation wise. So this paper addresses, takes a whole population, focuses on the underserved population right now, because it is not getting the floodlight on what needs to happen in the next few years. It's going to shine a lot. So that is this paper focusing on, and what it is how to integrate the robots ethically into the elder community is what this paper is focusing on. So let me share my screen. With that said, let me share my screen. So this is purely a readout of, it's literally a readout of the published work, word for word. As I want to share here that, this is very, very, very beginning stages. But there is so much of potential, one can take a look at this paper, get ideas on this thing, and can build and run studies and help the research and elder community benefit from this very very first level paper in this topic. So let me go through this. If I get distracted a little bit, I'm going to ask Sam or Sudha or anybody to chime in and help out. But so this paper was published in the World Academy of Science, Engineering, and Technology, volume 18, November 11, 2024. So it's a link. You could hop onto the link, and it brings you to the paper here. So this is the paper about ethically integrating robots in the elder care. So it was a lot of learning experience. Writing a research paper requires a lot of, getting the facts. It's a procedural paper, going through a lot of data and understanding how we can make this paper and publish it in this journal. So it's an awesome journey. We learned a lot on this thing. Many thanks to teachings here as well. So before I get further, I just want to make sure the disclaimer is clear. The content published is the independent work of the authors, driven by the passion for supporting the senior community through the volunteering efforts. And I want to make sure that it's not affiliated with or endorsed by any organization and does not reflect the views of their employers.
Suresh,
So,
I simply say this as I'm not owned by any brand, but that
right.
is that is more clear. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Sudha. Yeah. This is just driven by passion. So it is just we are just looking at a long vision of what it takes to integrate the robots in the elder care, because it's an underserved community, and that's what it is. So the agenda for today is going to be, what is elder care? I think we discussed some of the author's experience, but we will briefly go over that. What is assisted living? What are the different robot types that are there? What are some of the terminology that you would need to get familiar when we are discussing about ethical considerations? And some of the guidelines for robot integration. So when I'm sharing this slide deck with you, just take a moment and let it soak into your heart. It can be, take a moment and soak it into your heart. This could be anybody that you know personally. It could be your family member. It could be your relative. It could be some friend. It could be anybody that you are familiar with, and this is what happens. Everybody ages, and what we are showing here is how the community is working together to help themselves, and also how the elder care industry works. So reflected back as we are going through this presentation, just reflected back, some things might touch on, what is happening right now in your life, or what could be coming down the line that you may want to think about, and how you want to better yourself to help in the future, right? So have that in perspective. As I go through this thing, something might seem obvious, but something might say, yeah, that makes sense. Maybe we should start looking at those aspects of it. So volunteering, so this is a bigger part. So each week, volunteer in a old age community play assisted living center. So I specifically, volunteer in a memory center. So these are people who are suffering with dementia and Alzheimer's, and those kinds of issues. Right now, I'll get more into details on some of these things as I walk through it. But it's a rewarding experience. You learn a lot of things, and you see how we can bring support and care for this particular community. I'll show you why I'm bringing up this in the next few slides.
Just to add on to that, so I'm a co-author on the paper, and along with what Suresh was doing, which is he was coming in every day, every Sunday, and basically presenting the elderly care community with stories, like short stories, just to get them involved, just to keep them engaged. Adding on to that, what I would do every Sunday, what I would try to do, is I would try to play some music for them. So I play Indian Carnatic violin, and every Sunday I would try to go and present them with a bit of musical taste. And what that does is music is supposed to help foster memory connections. And combining that with storytelling, specifically stories that many of these people experienced when they were young kids. So stories like Little Red Riding Hood, stories like The Three Little Pigs, all these stories are in the back of their mind. And by presenting these stories along with music, the hope is that we're able to foster some memory connection and keep them more engaged. Now, one thing that I specifically noticed when volunteering was the loneliness that is ever present in the center. There's an utter lack of social interaction. As soon as you enter, this center. So between people, many people are not engaged with each other. There's not a lot of friendships being made just because it's so hard at such an older age to make those connections that are meaningful with other people. Additionally, many people they complained that they had a lack of family members present in their lives, and this is a huge issue. Imagine you or your parent complaining that way about you, or you being the person that doesn't have the family members around them to support them at such a vulnerable time. And that's the other thing that I noticed is the vulnerability of so many of these elderly care individuals. The elderly were completely dependent on workers in the facility. Their everyday activities were completely dictated by the workers, and there was no personalized experience for anyone. That's detrimental because we know that individuals learn differently. And in this critical time in their life, if we can't personalize an experience, we can't effectively make their lives beneficial. So yeah, those are just two things that I've noticed in the facility, and we believe that if we're able to ethically integrate robotics into this part of many people's lives, we can improve their lives significantly.
I want to add one thing as a person who saw these two guys actually do this every Sunday, but I was there, like they invited me for one Sunday. I found that very amazing that, they were doing this, right? That was my attitude when I went in. But then at the end of it, Suresh was actually saying, I'm singing these songs and they are reacting to these songs. But since these are dementia patients and they've lost their memory, they're not able to communicate which of these songs are resonating with them. Maybe there's some different song or a different poetry or something from their life. If I just knew what that was, they would feel better. But I don't know that. So I found that the first thing to actually make, Suresh has been working with robotics, so he brought in robotics. So my first thing when we started thinking about the paper was like, just because you are working with robots doesn't mean that robots should be talking to these people. Like, I had that attitude. But I want to emphasize that to make tech work for any segment, you have to feel empathy. It's when we say passion, we get passionate about the technology, right? You have to feel passionate about this user, this customer, this audience. And I think that was the starting point of this. I love that. Thank you.
No, it's beautifully said, both Sam and Sudha. So I think you touched upon the key points here, which is personalization. If you have had the opportunity to walk into a facility, you will see a whole bunch of people from different ethnicity, different lifestyle backgrounds, and different cultural backgrounds as well, language and cultural backgrounds as well. So what is currently happening right now is, there is one record player that plays the same song. And if you have, people from different backgrounds, you're not able to relate. So basically, once the person buys in and, feels connected, that's where the transformation happens. So if you walk into a elder care right now, there is a television going, and you would see a bunch of people just sitting lifelessly with no connection with what is going on in and around them. But the minute you bring somebody who is more interacting, who is more connecting with the person and bringing the best out of them, because we all operate at different levels. We all, trigger at different moments, right? So in this case right now, it's a caregiver, and the caregiver, is able to understand, provide the comfort care for these individuals. So because they know the modes of operation for each of these people. And that is what is being lacking right now. So I'll get you to the next level, before I go to the next level, I just want to say, just this one line item, which is, what does ethics mean? It is the principles that helps decide what is right or wrong, and good and bad. So think of it that if you have a security camera, or if you have a device that is in your home, how it operates. So it's about doing the right things, treating people right. I think this is the most important thing, I would say. Uh, Being honest, considering the impact of the actions on others. And also, treating this particular community with respectfully, and being responsible for their needs is in the umbrella of what ethics means. So imagine you could be a technologist, or you could be a care provider, or you could be a general public consuming this particular slide. You would say, yeah, maybe I'm a general public, maybe I know a few people. How would I, or in case of, if it's going to be a machine that is going to be dealing with, how is it, the question that you want to ask is it treating people fairly? Is it being respectful and fair? And so those are things that, should resonate in your mind as the field of robotics grows and enters into the elder care sector. Now, let me, like both Sam and Sudha touched upon these things. So it's a forgotten generation. So basically, these are, doctors or lawyers or teachers that have been high producing individuals at some point of time, like us for now. But at some point of time, their physical and mental abilities deteriorate. And there's an acute section, which is dementia and Alzheimer's. So the care needed, is not just one care for everybody. It is a very personalized care. But the thing is, the community is looking for support from outside population. But it is just that, people are just too busy, like you and me. We are just too busy to, even pay a visit to them, talk to them, have a chat, play with them, exchange ideas. It's just that, we are just too busy with lots of things. So that's why, it's a forgotten generation. And it leads to loneliness and depression. They have nobody to talk to, right? So when I'm saying this, you can imagine a technology solution, if you're, if you have that mindset, or you can imagine, what you could do, to help that community, right? Um, so this is touching upon, where these cares happen. There is independent living. People, at that senior community, they want to live independently, or some people want to have an in-home care. So which means, somebody comes and takes care of them. Respite care is, if let's say the community needs, the seniors need errands to run, or, spend some time with them, watching movies and things like that. So that's just, these are the different care types, at least that is available in the Western world that I'm aware of. Hospice care. So this is for people who are terminally ill, and they need to be focused and taken care of with the comfort and quality of life. Uh, Palliative care is basically, it's like all the pain relief, like, heart attack recoveries, or, cancer recoveries and things like that. And then the, next care type is assisted living. Assisted living is, okay, this individual, cannot support by themselves. They are looking for some company. They want to be, be helped a little bit, taken care of. And so, they all come into something called the assisted living facility. So these are the different care types. Now, if you look at the spectrum, who are the entities that are, in this sector is, care providers. Care providers are doctors, nurses, anybody who, you may be a care provider caring for your parent, maybe, right? So, or your family member. So that, you could be a care provider. The other players that come in is insurance. How much is covered and how much is not covered, what is covered, what medication is covered, what types of services are covered. So the insurance plays a big part in some of these things as well. Government plays a big role through the policies and resources. So you can go to a government website and say, hey, tell me where I can find this kind of a support or that kind of a support. So definitely, the local government or jurisdictions that has all of these information. And the technology companies are slowly beginning to ramp up. They understand, that the major challenge that is being faced by this community is, staffing shortages. Why? Because there's a lot of work that needs to be done because it's a population that needs to be catered to. It is not just one size fits all. So there's constant staffing shortages, right from taking care of a few set of people to caring for them for the medical care, as well as feeding them, helping them with day-to-day activities and things like that. All of that is putting a strain on staffing requirements, and that is a big issue in this particular sector. Now,
Suresh, I want to add one thing for
tell me, Sudha.
students here. In our previous classes, when we are saying how to build AI, we have looked at something called 4P framework, looking at, who are the stakeholders, what is the problem and all that. And we look at how do we arrive at a problem statement by understanding the various different stakeholders. And
Right.
in this discussion, one of the things that I've had with Suresh was, who are we representing? When we are solving this problem with technology, are we helping the insurance companies reduce risk? Are we creating transparency for government to make better policy? Or we are helping technology companies actually adapt their product to work for this audience. And then I think you pivoted to the care providers, right? Because there is shortage of care providers.
That is true. So if you're consuming this content, you could be in any of these, areas that you're trying to solve a problem. It could be you're associated with the government trying to solve the problems with this particular sector. You could be a technologist trying to build solutions to say, I want to have, solution to have the senior community engage with certain activities, for instance, throwing a ball, or for instance, singing a song. So that's what it is, right? While we are going through this, put yourself in, whatever, position you want to be helping this particular sector. The important thing that we are seeing here is the market is expected to grow by 6.5% in 2030, which means the market is definitely, beginning to take off because there is a real need for this particular sector. And also it is prime for innovation, mainly because of the staffing shortages. So I'll quickly go through some of these things. It's just if you have the opportunity to go into an assisted living, this picture just shows you, how, we are all individuals right now, but in an assisted living facility, they are catered to the same set of activities, the same set of exercises that they go through. If you look at this, right, this picture just shows, how they're all watching a television. Everybody, it doesn't matter whether you like the show, whether you don't like the show. This is how the caregivers, provide the service, which is fine. It is what it is right now. But, if it does not connect to the individual, they're not actually benefiting from these, from some of these activities. But so there's an opportunity for us to make things better with personalized care and things like that, right? So the service providers, care providers, feed them, give them the medication, take care of them. If you look at this, right, there are some volunteers that come in and play music or sing songs, and it is actually connecting the younger community with the older population. that adds more, it brings them back their memories of, how they grew up and how they, how they took care of things. It just rekindles their mind in connecting with the younger community. So this is how an assisted living facility is. If you have not volunteered, if you get an opportunity, at least just walk in and say hi and see, take a, just feel how things are, right? So just briefly about this, assisted living facility gives you a comfortable space, but the challenges are, there are diverse language that is spoken. There is different age group, different cultural and economic backgrounds. Additionally, there's, varying physical and mental abilities. So if you look at this, right, so if you're a caregiver, a caregiver is expected to be very adaptable, very empathetic, and, be social. It is very difficult challenge for the caregivers as well, because they have to be nice all the time, no matter whether the person, the senior community person, they have their mood swings and things like that, but their health challenges. But the caregiver has to, take care of them, right? So it's a very challenge, and that is the current state of things. And like I said, it's understaffed and overworked. So, maybe there's one caregiver for, a few number of senior community people, right? So we want to talk about technology here, right? So, what are the different robot types that are currently in the market right now? So it's broadly categorized as assistive type of robots. These are like, if you have a physical disability, it helps, like, for instance, exoskeleton. Maybe you know what's an exoskeleton is, or if you do not, take a look at it. Or there are some robots which can carry people. If if the person is very old and they need physical support, there are some robots which can carry people as well. Like, these are huge installations as well, right? So companion robots are, social interaction robots. It's like Alexa or LQ or Paro. Paro specifically, is seeming to be very popular because it kind of shows some emotions, and it kind of interacts with people, so it's very, very popular. At least it seems to be popular. This is very common. Monitoring robots, if you see this, it monitors a vital sign, and detects falls. So it's a robot that is on the floor, that monitors various things. Telepresence robot. You all know that, when we had COVID, the telepresence robot was very, very popular, and it's there in some of the care facilities. Therapeutic robots, like, it can play music, or it can interact with the person to make it more personal. So, but uh, yeah. So therapeutic robots and domestic robots are, it can help if, let's say, person is living independently. He can, it's like Roomba and things like that. It can take care of house cleaning, so that the person need not have to do some of these things. So in this picture, I'm just showing, various kinds of robots that are in the assisted living. So this is the robot, that can carry people. But it's not, you don't see that very popular, because there are some certain considerations that I'm going to be talking a little bit in the next 10 minutes. So you might have seen some of these. So this is Paro. Paro, you see this person interacting with the robot in a more personal way than anything else, right? So in this case, the robot is actually performing some some act to the old age community people, right? And so this is LEQ, or it's like Alexa. You can talk to it. The fact that if the old age person can connect with the robot, then there is much more benefit to the person than just a robot sitting. In the robots are just hard sensory devices right now, meaning they are metals mostly. It's not like malleable. It's not like a person. It does not understand the emotions yet fully. or it may make mistakes on some of these things, right? So this is where we are. We are, in the state where, these are some of the challenges, but, it's slowly beginning to grow in this industry, but it's not very popular yet. Okay. So I'm going to get into, some of the terminology. So while we are talking about ethical robots, so here's the terminology that you want to be familiar with. Let me see if we can see. Okay. So informed consent. So basically, so imagine that, we are getting this metal device into an assisted living facility. So before we do that, we want to get an informed consent. Users must be fully informed about the robot's functions, risks, and purposes before agreeing to use it. Right? Just think it through while I'm going through this content. Just think it through in your mind what it means from your perspective, from your background, right? Ensuring they can make voluntary and knowledgeable decisions, right? So we need to get informed consent from the users who are using these robots. Transparency is, the robots must openly communicate how it works, what data it collects, and how the data is used, allowing users to understand its operations and build trust. Senior community is one, and dementia patients is another challenge because they don't understand themselves mostly. So you need to work with their families to ensure that these robots are collecting the right amount of data, and the data is handled properly, and so that they can build the trust, and they can that's how you can get the robots integrated into the caregiver facilities, right? If the trust is lost, you cannot make the entry into some of these facilities. User control. So user should have the ability to manage and customize and override the robot actions. So the user has the final authority to say, the robot has to do certain things. The robot cannot just keep on doing the same task again and again. But if the user feels it's enough, so the user should have the autonomy to say, okay, I'm done with the activity today. I want to take back, maybe you can come back tomorrow. Even though if the robot is set to work with the person from 6 to 7, but if the user feels he's tired, he or she is tired, then it should have the control for that. Now, ethical programming. So this is very important. So designing robots to ensure fairness, safety, and respect for user rights, avoiding harmful behaviors or bias, right? So the robots are metal with lots of sensors, but it is programmed based on the data. So what data, how it reacts to certain scenarios and events is based on how it's programmed. So, we need to make sure, a robot, it can be a robot that is like Paro, or it can be LQ, how it responds to an old age person, or it can be a robot that is, supporting, carrying the person from one place to another place, right? All of that needs to have, it should not impact the senior person. Privacy protection. So safeguarding users' personal data, because as I said, these are sensor devices. So if it's recording certain information, it needs to be, personal. It needs to be confidential, right? It should not, the user should have full control of how the data is being used outside. 2 more slides and we'll be done, okay? So what are the ethical considerations? So privacy and surveillance, right? So like I said, the robot uses cameras and sensors, invading the privacy. It's important that these robots collect necessary data, not all kinds of data, necessary data, keep it secure, and clearly inform people about what data it's collecting. And adhere to the laws of GDPR in Europe or CCPA in California, or other countries, so that the data is handled properly and securely, transmitted maybe from the care facility to the central servers or whatever it is for processing. But it needs to be secure enough, and it needs to, you should destroy the data if it's not being used. Autonomy, encouraging independence without making users too dependent. So basically, the user should get the power to, make the decision. Making sure they understand how the robot works, know what's going on, and can control it. This means programming the robot to be ethical, protecting users' privacy, offering ways to personalize it. So if a person feels that, he or she wants this kind of activity versus that kind of activity, so that's where, you're not going to push the person to do certain things, but rather the user has full control of certain things. Dehumanization. So, robots should work alongside with human caregivers. Human caregivers are the ones who are, who give the warmth and empathy right now, who understands better and can give emotional support. So robots could handle, those tasks that the caregivers need not handle some of the other tasks, right? So should focus on making robots user friendly, respecting the role of human caregivers, and providing training to help caregivers offer caring personal support even with technology involved. So all of this is, so we are bringing technology into the care facility right now. Accountability. So this is one of the ethical consideration as well. So if you have these robots, if something goes wrong, so let's say the robot falls on somebody, for instance, right? Who is responsible for that, right? Is it the programmer who made the program, or is it the device that is constructed and it falls down, or is it the caregiver facility, right? So there's a lot of legal laws that govern some of these things. You need to have that mindset as well. And lastly, I mean, there's many points, but I'm just highlighting some of the higher level points here. So bias and fairness. Robots learn from the data, but if the data is biased, it can affect their decision unfairly. It's important to ensure that the robots treat everyone equally and do not discriminate against any group or individual. Okay. So guidelines for the integration. So basically, we need to have clear guidelines on rules based on the privacy that is, with the consultation of the elder individuals and their families and caregivers. So basically, we want to have an operation guideline of, how this particular technology is going to operate in a certain use case or scenario. We need to have that. And also we need to get consultation from approval from the individuals who are going to be using these things. We need to do the risk assessment, if this device is going to be operating, what are the strategies to mitigate risk. User-friendly design, not every person is able to push the button there. Maybe we can design using, voice. Maybe we can design using actions. Maybe we can design using, it depends on what kind of robot you're saying. It can be Alexa, or it can be as big as, a robot that can, carry people and walk into the, communities and things like that. Privacy protection, maintain confidentiality, and follow the data protection laws to safeguard personal information. Training, right? So once you're bringing in the technology, we need to train everyone involved in the robot care, including patients, caregivers, family members. So in this case, if you're thinking of, okay, this person is not going to be in assisted living facility, is going to be in the, he or she's going to be in the house, how it's going to be interacting with other people as well in the care, in the facility, right? And also what we need to do is, it's not just, set it and forget it. We need to do regular monitoring, conduct regular reviews to ensure robots are being used ethically and effectively, incorporating feedback and making necessary adjustments. Because as this field is growing, it's not mature enough. We just need to constantly fine tune the approaches for making it more user friendly, more accommodating for serving the community. And community awareness. So promote the ethical use of robots in elder care through public awareness, advocacy. So this is how we can, popularize and make sure, more people get familiar with the technology. And expert consultation is work with ethical experts to address complex issues and ensure decisions align with the best practices in elder care. So this is like, maybe get the best practices that are happening around the world and integrated into, a technology solution that you are promoting in your in your technology, right? Um, with that, I think we are done. So all in all, so these are the considerations that you need to integrate into your solution when the robots are integrated into the care facilities. Yeah, I'll turn it back to you, Debika or Sudha.
Back to Debika. And Debika, you can also show the paper and the URL. So if people want to see what the paper looks like, this is
All right. Give me
some.
1 second.
Thank you, Suresh, and thank you, Sam. This is very nicely done and very nicely presented.
Thank you, Sudha. Yeah, it was a good experience for us. At least this is the very first paper, and there's so many threads you can build on and take it from here, and it's a whole new project or surveys and things like that. How you connect with the community on what is the solution that we need to implement, and who knows, maybe somebody will take this and see maybe I can build this kind of thing or that kind of thing, or serve this community, that community, and maybe they can volunteer better with the underserved population.
It's
So
very nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think like this is one of the few communities that you kind of have to start with a place of ethics and care, because you could put AI in front of someone in their 80s and they can just flat out say, I don't want to touch it. And your whole job for the day will be how to get them to use what you've put in front of them.
that's right.
And it turns into like, you'll have, and like I say this because I've volunteered too in the past, and it's like, getting us something as simple as like getting them to move from one chair to the next because they loved sitting there becomes a whole battle of the day. And so I think this is one of those few communities that, like children, elder care, it's you have to reason with them, you have to work with them, you have to talk to them and treat them with like the respect of humanity before we can even get them to the place of having them integrate AI into their lives, right?
Right.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so AI is if AI is great, it's running too fast, which is good. But if it cannot hit the ground with serving the actual people, so I think somewhere I saw this, right? So AI becomes AI does not know it's a red velvet cake. It does not understand what's a red, or it's a blue balloon, right? Until it touches and feels what a balloon is. Well, you can say everything. The experience of AI is going to get that much more better when it is integrated into a device that can experience like human beings, which is robots right now. And uh, so it's great. The AI is going much faster. At some point of time, they will all, come into the actual devices that will serve the community. And this paper is the first basic paper talking about or introducing this concept of how to integrate once it happens.
I like that you focused on the ethical aspect of this, because I've had students, like we've had courses on inclusive AI and AI ethics, or even my regular AI class, students pick a project and then they run with it, right?
Yeah.
So I've had people who are very passionate about technology, AI, robotics in elder care in different forms, right? And a very common use case is, okay, are they moving around? Did they have a fall? And AI can do an anomaly detection. And so they watch, right, with sensors. Or they are alone and they need help and don't feel isolated. So you have a camera watching them, and they could, that's growing a lot, right? But it comes with a lot of treating them with agency, privacy, and what if just say, I don't want anything to do with this. And then this one, what you're saying is this kind of population who can't even make the decision themselves.
Right.
But they might still like some music you play, some content you give them. They will engage better. You know the nuances of it, or the caregiver will know the nuances of it. So I like how you've developed this as a broader paper to think about what are the ethical considerations. Okay,
That's right.
I think Nagratna has a question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi all. Sorry, can't get to the camera. Already done with the
It's-
work and in my pajamas, so excuse me. But yeah, just a contrarian way of thinking in terms of the use cases that we touched and discussed on the slide, right? I suppose there is another angle in that typically you would think like, if elderly are complaining about, the one thing that they miss is they're not getting enough attention from family members, right? And typically that tendency happens. We don't know the history as to why that is, right? It need not be negligence because people are old now and they don't want to pay any attention or anything of that sort. It could be that they never had that sort of a relationship to begin with. And when there are people who are probably trying to pay attention and support at this point in time, right? I suppose one of the things that people struggle with is some sort of lack of reciprocation from the elderly, or lack of sometimes I've even seen some videos where the care people are abused by the elderly and so on. I suppose that's a consideration in terms of how can we help the situation, obviously without putting anybody in a corner or bad situation, but how can, from a AI solution and robotic solutions perspective, what sort of support can be provided to positively move forward for all people involved, right?
Yeah, so let me take a answer on this thing, and I'll give it back to other people as well. So I feel it is listening in and hearing on constant feedback that's happening. It's not
Yeah,
just from from the senior person, but it's also from the care provider. What is it that that can help? In the end of the day, the care providers needs to be served. I think that is the main thing. It's just
true.
so maybe if they feel this robot is hindering because it's bulky and huge, and there's not enough space, or this robot is not useful, your solution is not going to fly anywhere, right? So you have to be able to listen, hear the robots, or the person who's delivering these things needs to listen, hear, and observe what can make the life of the caregiver much better. Additionally, considering the life and care life or comfort of the person who's living in the assisted living facility. And the problem right now is it is just like they all check into a place, and it's just that people who are younger than them, they just don't have the time to travel or visit them. But with this with the introduction, so that's where some of these companies are thinking, right? Oh, even for us, right? There is a television that is in the pro facility. Whether it is useful or not useful, it's nobody considers that. You can imagine, maybe they have a personalized solution. Maybe they see
What they
their
like.
what they like.
Yeah,
Maybe they are interested in quizzes, or maybe they're interested in dance, or maybe, right, it's not watching the news or watching the sports. It's not
true.
caring, it is not customizing, personalizing for them, right? So I think it is not once you say this is the kind of robot I think might be of useful for this particular scenario, we have to work with 360 on all the considerations that I had listed there to make it a success. Otherwise, these robots have existed, but they are not very, very popular in any of these places. Why? Because they may not be, either they are expensive, maybe the insurance is not covering them, or maybe maybe it is there are some issues with if it breaks down, is the care provider going to be knowing how to fix it? Who knows? Or so all of that needs to be worked on when deploying some of the solution.
True.
And I think it's just inevitable, right? That robots and AI will enter the elder care space. If it's
Right.
been introduced into every aspect of our lives, it's gonna head there. And with an aging population, I think it's important to remember, right? Like we're all going towards that,
That's right.
right? And we are now used to this in our lives. So I can imagine it's just like how you would tweak an algorithm for your news feed for your phone, but in, your space. I mean, I guess it really starts with building robots that we can integrate into our houses before we
Yeah.
even end up in elder care, right? Like, so the
Yes.
transition isn't jarring where they go from having to walk up the stairs and then all of a sudden there's a robot carrying them versus like maybe finding something that we can start moving. It's like an Alexa home, right?
Yes.
I've heard
Yes.
of older people, because they deal with so much loneliness. Like I've heard a story about someone I know actually in particular, a widow, who will speak to Alexa from time to time as if it's like a person. And that person, there are many people like that. And so, but if that person gets older and was introduced to elder care, it won't be so jarring to have Alexa in the room then
That's
because
right.
they've already been used to it at their
That's right.
house.
Yeah.
I think the
And
content and topic is endless, actually. It is just for us to take it further than what it is right now because the field is evolving. And if you're passionate about it, there are so many angles that you can think of to better serve the elder community. Right now, you can take it as an emotional robot, you can take it as a Roomba that is in the house, you can take it
Right.
as,
The Roomba is much more jarring if you've never seen it in your life, right?
yeah,
right. And
true.
so it has to coexist with the people around.
Yeah.
But it is getting there, but it'll take a few years. But we are all progressing towards that where, it'll be nice if, you're taken care of by, constantly by something. You say, get me some water, and there's a robot that serves you, right?
There
So
are actually robots that are being used in hotels where
yeah,
you want some extra towel instead of making a
yeah,
person run and they might touch with their hands. Now
right.
you have a robot who just comes to your room. That is there in some hotels I've seen here. And then I heard from Emmanuel sharing that in the lounge in the airport.
Yeah, yeah,
There was a
Yeah.
robot who was coming and serving food or doing some
Yeah.
cleaning of the spills and stuff.
Yeah, we're getting our Uber Eats through robots that
Yeah.
move around, right? So if
So
an elder person sees that ahead of time, they're not going to be so scared when it's in their facility.
That's right. So I want to add one thing. So this topic was presented from a ethical consideration and focused on elder care.
right.
As people are listening to this, we've done several sessions, and in my classes, I've taught about different aspects of robots, or we've had discussions on how do you understand multiple stakeholders to develop AI. So you can take anything from here, right? You can say, okay,
Yeah.
what are the ethical considerations I hope you do in everything you're doing with AI? Or you can say, hey, this robot is, there are multiple use cases with your robot and how I can do this, or focus on elder care. So I always tell people, when you're thinking about technology and innovation, there are three different doors by which you can enter and build something. In this case, Suresh is passionate about elder care. So if there is a population, a use case, a problem you want to solve for, then go for that, right? Then that's the easiest route because you already have the passion to let you go drive further, right? Or if you're working in robotics, which also happens with Suresh, and you love the technology and you say, now, can I put this to good use? What are the possibilities? And you listed potential applications of that, right? And it doesn't have to be elder care. It doesn't have to be one particular
Right.
use case, but then you can go figure that out, and then you can go that route if you get excited, especially if somebody is pivoting their career and going into AI or robotics or applications of technology. Then you can go with the technology angle and become an expert and learn more of that.
That's
The third thing is, you might be sitting in a certain industry, or you might be in a certain domain. You work in marketing or customer service, or in this case, elder care. And then you can say, what can my industry or my field benefit from whatever I'm hearing? And
that's right.
the thing that at least my learners typically need reminders is that you have the business acumen, you have the knowledge of that what would work here versus what would not work. How do you have that contrary view and think about that? You have the experience, and
Yes.
you can bring that into the designing of this human computer interface. And sorry, one more point. If you're thinking of this as a researcher and say, hey, this is great, but he didn't go build the robot, he didn't go build the application, but he's done research and published a paper, then you can go in that route. If you're listening to this and say, I want to go into research, I've never published research. Suresh and I have published a couple more papers about, cameras and autonomous vehicles and some other dimensions also of inclusive AI. But this is another start. You look at what you're hearing and you say, what is missing? How would I take this forward? What is a gap? And even I have a challenging view than what is presented. Now, how do I build on that? And you can kind of take that forward. Sorry, Suresh, you were going to say something.
No, I'm thankful for this opportunity. It's like so much of good learning and things like that. So, I'm happy for, giving the opportunity to share this here. And Sam, bright and upcoming, he's picking up on, some of the good work and learning as well. So, it's just the world is, great potential. I mean, there's so many opportunities that, he can pick up and run with, or anybody can pick up and run with. So
that's right. That's right. In one of my, I think in my Stanford class or the Barcelona UX design class, I used to share multiple different research related to robots. And Suresh, you were in my class at Business School of AI when we did the KiwiBot. We did a whole building AI exercise with KiwiBot. Now I think the new thing with Agent AI is how do you put Agent AI on an IoT or a device and bring it to life and and move that forward. It's not just theoretically, it's a piece of software. So there's a lot of possibilities. So if Debika will give me permission, I know it's kind of end of our hour, but if you would give me permission, I would just want to show one research done by Cornell University about how humans interact with autonomous robots. And the way they did that is they didn't build a robot. And for those of you who are, on a clock from work or it's late in your time zone, drop off, you can come and watch this last piece and then we'll close out, guys, okay? Because we'll share this recording. So they did a research and they said, we're not going to build a robot, but we want to see the psychology of people, how people will interact with robots. So what they did is they took a trash can and they put it on Roomba or something like Roomba, right? And so they said, this is a robotic trash can. It is going to come and collect trash from you. So I want to show that video if you're okay with it, Debika. Yeah?
Yes, and but we are definitely way over time.
Okay, then this is literally like a minute or so, okay? And I will stop that. Let me screen full, get ready. Thank you, Debika. So people are interacting with trash can, which is an autonomous trash can, a robotic trash can, and they don't know they're being watched, which I don't know if it's good for research or not, whether we can do that these days. Okay. I'm seeing a comment in a lighter note. It's our interest to achieve maturity in using robotics. Yeah, that's true. And I think it's a journey for us, right? We have to try different things. I just, what I like doing with my students is to kind of explore the possibilities and understand that there are, multiple point of views. Okay. So this is Cornell researchers.
Thank you, Sudha. I'll be dropping off now.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sam.
When we did this project, we were actually hoping to roboticize chairs and tables. Literally, our partners, in the business improvement district said, "Are you kidding? It's New York. You have to do trash."
Oh, that's cool, actually. That's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Trash here. Yeah. Oh, good boy. All that recycling. Oh, you're a bad boy. You don't know what you're doing.
That's creepy.
People are concerned about the price of the robot because they really think it's like part of the garment. They're curious about the budget, like how expensive these things are. And the second concern they have is, will this replace jobs?
We're not trying to sell a trash robot. We're trying to understand how people interact with robot objects. Before we do the deployment, we watch how the people who clean the streets actually do their work. The work they do is incredibly nuanced and difficult and very unlikely to be automatable without completely restructuring the infrastructure of the street, which is not something that I think we are advocating for.
Okay, I want to stop this, guys. Thank you for letting me share this. So in my class, I show little clips of this. And one of the thing is there is a psychology of people to, interact with the robot, talk to it, like it or hate it. And there's also like a social compulsion, oh, it's coming back again. That piece is not there in this video. But when it comes, people feel like I have to give something. So that guy giving the straw, right? There's another piece where people pretend like they're not like seeing it. So that because they don't want to use the robot or interact with it. So I think there's a lot more research that we could do about how we as humans change and interact with the machines, right? Whether it is robots or, a robotic arm or, or the Roomba that is cleaning or, Alexa or the autonomous vehicle that I love and chase. So back to you, Debika. Thank you for giving me this extra 2 minutes, but I hope, we can continue this. And if you like this, definitely follow up and, join our Slack group. And we can continue our conversation. And then maybe we can bring more topics. Even in the robotics realm, there are different dimensions we can bring. But we want to, find people who are willing to work with me to find out what are these topics we can research and find out, holistic way and ethical way of bringing tech to work for us. And that's it. And I had promised that we will share the course link. If you have that, maybe you can show that, Debika.
Yeah, I put it in the chat.
Yeah, and for people who are watching on the video, they will not be able to see the chat. So we need to show the screen.
Let me just
Yeah.
show it.
And so,
Sorry,
yes,
I'm going to be dropping off.
you
Sudha.
can drop off, guys. Yes, thank you so much. We're just going to
Thank
wrap
you
up.
all. Thanks for this.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. And for those of you coming back and watching this, I'm looking for somebody to work with me as a researcher on figuring out what is the latest in topics that we could bring to WeeklyWed. Okay. So the course is, okay, thank you. I just wanted to show the URL where people can find it, Debika. That's what the main thing was. It's businessschoolofai.teachable.com/p/ it's Agent AI Foundation with
no code, most importantly.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. We can stop the share. Yes. Thank you. And we will share this link if you're coming on Slack, or you can just reply to the WeeklyWed link because Ranin has some special deals if 2 people are coming and signing up and whatnot. But my plan is not to do more live courses after this for the rest of the year because I have other commitments. So I'm looking forward to get truly motivated people like we were having discussions today on what you want to build with Agent AI once you learn from me on what is Agent AI. And we are going to provide, so November 16th is 4 hours of live class. It's a Saturday. Following that would be on your own time schedule. We'll have different speakers from industry. You can choose which one you attend. And then we will have 3 different mentors on 3 different technologies that you can pick and work with us. But we want you to build something for real. So if you're just going to sign up and say, okay, I got a certificate, that's not how it's going to work. I want people who are motivated, come in, have discussions and be passionate. And it could be in any realm, wherever you're thinking how, or as you're listening to the class, maybe you'll get ideas on doing something related to your work or your functional field. Like I said, you get excited about a technology and figure out what you can do with it, or you want to solve a problem that you are passionate about, or you just say, I work in marketing, I work in sales, I work in BD, I work in, data science, whatever your area, you say, okay, now what can I do that makes my life easy? And a lot of Gen AI is actually helping developers with generating code, because a lot of technology in that realm today is with developers. We don't have enough of people of other roles who are contributing yet. That's why we are not seeing enough of the applications. We are seeing more like marketing using it, or we are seeing coders saying, hey, it generates brilliant code, because they're using it for their own domain. So think about it that way. And, I hope I'll see motivated students and have fun on next Saturday. Okay. Thank you, Debika.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Let's see. 1 second. We have
No, I just asked a new person to introduce themselves.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Umair. I see what you're writing.
Hello, thank you for giving me the opportunity. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. So I just posted the message in the chat.
No, it's good. Good. Welcome. Are you on our regular WeeklyWed list? That's if not, you should sign up. And I did share the Slack group here, so you can come in and have a conversation, or just watch in and see, on these topics.
Yes, I think I just recently signed up for the weekly newsletters or
Yeah.
notifications, so
Yeah.
I should be able to join going forward.
Okay.
And I'll look into the Slack channel as well. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I just posted it, so you'll see it again.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So
All
this Slack link will take you to two options. One is called AI Learners, where it's a general community where we discuss everything related to AI, or the AI Ethics channel. You can join both. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome. So we should wrap up.
right.